Well, we are nearing the end of Wonder. It always seems like it's the end, but there's always a little bit more of the story, which is kind of nice. It'll be sad to finish this up. So let's see where we are. We're at the actual graduation of fifth grade for Augie, and the title of this chapter is Take Your Seats, Everyone. Jack and I walked right behind a couple of sixth graders into the building and then followed them to the auditorium. Mrs. G was at the entrance handing out programs and telling kids where to go. Fifth graders down the aisle to the left, she said. Sixth graders go to the right. Everyone come in. Come in. Good morning. Go to your staging areas. Fifth graders to the left, sixth grades to the right. The auditorium was huge inside. Big sparkly chandeliers, red velvet walls, rows and rows and rows of cushioned seats leading up to the stage. We walked down the wide aisle and followed the signs to the fifth grade staging area, which was in a big room to the left of the stage. Inside were 4 rows of folding chairs facing the front of the room, which is where Miss Rubin was standing, waving us in as soon as we walked in the room. Okay, kids, take your seats. Take your seats, she was saying, pointing to the rows of chairs. Don't forget, you're sitting alphabetically. Come on, everybody, take your seats. Not too many kids had arrived yet, though, and the ones who weren't listening to her. Me and Jack were sword fighting with our rolled up programs. Hey, guys. It was Summer walking over to us. She was wearing a light pink dress and, I think, a little makeup. Wow, Summer, you look awesome, I told her, because she really did. Really? Thank you. You do too, Augie. Yeah, you look okay, Summer, said Jack kind of matter-of-factly. And for the first time I realized that Jack had a crush on her. This is so exciting, isn't it? Said Summer. Yeah, kind of, I answered, nodding. Oh, man, look at this program, said Jack, scratching his forehead. We're going to be here all freaking day. I looked at my program. Headmaster opening remarks, Dr. Harold Jansen, middle school director's address, Mr. Lawrence Tushman, light and day, middle school choir, fifth grade student commencement address, Simona Shen, Pachelbel, Canon in D, they always play that, middle school chamber music ensemble, sixth grade student commencement address, Mark Antioch, under pressure, middle school choir, that's a good one, middle school dean's address, Miss Jennifer Rubin, awards presentation, CBAC, roll call of names. Why do you think that? I asked. Because Mr. Jansen's speeches go on forever, said Jack. He's even worse than Tushman. My mom said she actually dozed off when he spoke last year, Summer added. What's the awards presentation? I asked. That's where they give medals to the biggest brainiacs, Jack answered, which would mean Charlotte and Zimna will win everything in the fifth grade like they won everything in the fourth grade and in the third. Not in the second grade, I laughed. They didn't give those out in the second grade, he answered. Maybe you'll win this year, I joked. Not unless they give awards for the most C's, he laughed. Everybody, take your seats. Mrs. Rubin started yelling louder now, like she was getting annoyed that nobody was listening. We have a lot to get through, so take your seats. Don't forget you're sitting in alphabetical order. A through G is the first row. H through N is the second row. O through Q is the third row. R through Q is the last row. Let's go, people. We should go sit down, said Summer, walking toward the front section. You guys definitely coming over to my house after this, right? I called out after her. Definitely, she said, taking her seat next to Simona Shen. When did summer get so hot? That's so funny, fifth grader. Jack muttered in my ear. Shut up, dude, I said, laughing as we headed toward the third row. Seriously, when did that happen? He whispered, taking the seat next to mine. Mr. Will, Miss Rubin shouted. Last time I checked, W came between R and Z, yes? Jack looked at her blankly. Dude, you're in the wrong row, I said. I am? And the face he made as he got up to leave, which was a mixture of looking completely confused and looking like he's just played a joke on somebody, totally cracked me up. A simple thing. About an hour later, we were all seated in the giant auditorium waiting for Mr. Tushman to give his middle school address. The auditorium was bigger than I imagined it would be, bigger even than the one at Via's school. I looked around and there must have been 1 million people in the audience. Okay, maybe not 1 million, but definitely a lot. Thank you, Headmaster Jansen, for those very kind words of introduction, said Mr. Tushman, standing behind the podium on the stage as he talked into the microphone. Welcome, my fellow teachers and members of the faculty. Welcome, parents and grandparents, friends and honored guests, and most especially, welcome to my 5th and 6th grade students. Welcome to the Beecher Prep Middle School graduation ceremonies. Everyone applauded. Every year, continued Mr. Tushman, reading from his notes, with his reading glasses way down on the tip of his nose, I am charged with writing 2 commencement addresses, one for the 5th and 6th grade graduation ceremony today, and one for the 7th and 8th grade ceremony that will take place tomorrow. And every year I say to myself, let me cut down on my work and just write one address that I can use for both situations. Seems like it shouldn't be that such a hard thing to do, right? And yet each year I still end up with 2 different speeches, no matter what my intentions. And I finally figured out why this year. It's not, as you might assume, simply because tomorrow I'll be talking to an older crowd with a middle school experience that is largely behind them, whereas your middle school experience is largely in front of you. No, I think it has more to do with this particular age that you are right now, this particular moment in your lives that even after 20 years of my being around students this age still moves me. Because you're at the cusp, kids. You're at the edge between childhood and everything that comes after. You're in transition. Wow, that is really true. I like that. I forgot about that line. That seems like a good place to leave it. And we'll finish up this chapter next time.